Welcome back, everyone. This is the week 1 of 2022 program, and first off, we're warming up for the exercises to come from day 1 training. We are hitting legs in this exercise and of course getting started with some leg swings. Super important, get the blood flowing, mobilize the hips, and overall just get heated up and ready to go for the exercises to come. You'll see we transition here into a warm up with a barbell back squat, and it felt pretty tight at first. We decided to open up the feet a little bit, and as you'll notice in the video that I am wearing weightlifting shoes. They're just a pair of Nikes with I think about 1.5 inch rise maybe on the heel. So getting adjusted to that, I thought it would be important to use the tools that I have, considering that I'm with week 1 trying to get back into adjusting to the heavy weights that we'll be using throughout the training program. More on that to come. However, you'll see that the weight moving here in the back squat was obviously sped up to make the video go a little quicker, but the tempo was smooth. We can note in the sped up view, and I only adjusted once or twice my foot positioning because things felt relatively nice. Mobility was opening up as the weight was bringing us down into the depth. I wasn't hanging out in the bottom of my squat too long, but that was it. Just 2 sets with the barbell back squat, and then we moved on to the next exercise in day 1. Next exercise being the chest supported row, or CO row, some refer to it as you may, but the benefit of the exercise here is that we're not fatiguing the lower back, which obviously barbell squats were quite demanding. And there's a bit of a relaxation period here, if you call it, when you're laying on the bench and you get to stretch your lats, your trapezius as well, your rhomboids through full range of motion before contracting all the way to the back. The exercise felt great. We kept a relatively low weight, going 3 to 5 reps from failure, and did so with a pretty high repetition. Moving on to what looks more like a shrug here. However, I'd like to refer to it as more of a rowing pattern, just standing. I don't like to call it a shrug because you'll notice that my elbows have a lot of flexion. I honestly previously didn't think that a shrug ever had any elbow flexion in it, but the degree into which I'm performing that exercise, I find a massive benefit in bringing my upper traps into a tense state and just overall providing a good muscular breakdown. And the next day definitely felt the results of that. And this is day 2 that we're witnessing now. Day 2 of training, so we did have a rest day in between day 1 and 2. The rest day was an active one, of course. We'll get more into that later. The selection of day 2 as exercise patterning comes from a barbell bench press, as we saw first, dumbbell curls to follow, and then calf raises, which weren't recorded, but we can see that the exercise went pretty smooth there. The barbell bench press, I started off with just the barbell, moved my way up to pressing the 45 plate on each side. The weight did move smooth, it was heavy, and I bench pressed twice this week, which gives me time to adapt to the weight that I'm going to be using throughout the training routine. The benefit with benching twice throughout the week is that I get accustomed to the exercise patterning as opposed to just having to get familiar with the movement pattern in one day a week, which I don't find to be enough, especially with a compound exercise like a bench press. Got a little caught up there, but day 3 is on the move here. We saw first off relaxing on the floor. I think super important before an exercise day or a training day that requires a lot of hip hinging. Just give your spine time to relax, and you can brace your core, make sure everything's in a neutral position before we're hinging and maintaining a isometric state in a hip hinge. You can see that was done exactly here with the barbell row. I'm liking a lot the fact that the range of motion is progressing here, not only from the hip hinge that we can see in the video, but as well the range of motion that's performed when allowing the bar to go all the way into the depth and a nice contraction upon the way up. The exercise patterning for day 3 is exactly that, consisting of a barbell row, a good morning, and skull crushers again. I wanted to comment on that while we're here, considering skull crushers are up next. That exercise is used 3 times in my training program. This training program was recycled for everyone that has been watching from previous videos. However, with the progression that came from my triceps and the previous use of this program, I believe upon revisal for week 2 of 2022 program, I may bring the volume in tricep training down and replace that volume with more leg or quadricep based training, just because I found my leg days to be a little light and the volume not being as effective as the breakdown of my triceps, where recovery was tough, definitely over week 1, getting back into it with the heavy weights and the high frequency and volume of all the tricep training. On to day 4, we'll see here that we're going through exercise patterning consisting of, day 3, my apologies. We finished off with an overhead press. That's what that was there. So day 4 consists of the movement patterns of a bench press, dumbbell curl, and the final use of skull crushers for the SIP training. The bench press here, we started off with the barbell. We moved up pretty quickly to the 45-pound plate, so 135 on the bar, and progressed to a working set. The first working set of week 1 being 155. The weight moved smooth. It was actually controlled. The tempo was, I'd say, rather slow. I don't believe it to be sped up or adjusted by any means in this video. So that's the tempo, nice and raw there. And after that, we moved on to skull crushers and bicep curls. As suggested, though, my triceps were absolutely fried. This was recording yesterday. The last day of training, I did not even perform the full set of tricep skull crushers because I just really couldn't see it feasible to break down my triceps any more than they already were. So I switched and instead adjusted to adapting more volume for chest work in that routine, because I already had a lot of chest work, a lot of blood flow going, so I utilized that volume and that flow and did some incline push-ups. If you made it this far in the video, I'd definitely like to add thank you so much. This is of course the longest video and your support means the most. Wouldn't have done this without you. And as always, eat your food, invest your time, and take care, fellow gainers.